Have you ever sat down to record your podcast and thought, why is this so hard? Maybe you spent hours planning, scripting, recording, only to finish an episode and realize you have to do it all over again next week. I know that feeling all too well. I remember the moment when I started questioning if I could keep going. I was juggling a full-time job, serving clients, raising kids, trying to be a good wife, a great business coach. I was committed to my podcast, but it felt like this never-ending production cycle that I just couldn't keep up with. Then one day, I had a severe tightening in my chest, and it scared me so much. But it was like 2:00 in the morning, and I didn't have anyone to access. I didn't want to go to the emergency room, the bills. But I did go to the doctor first thing in the morning, and it turns out I was having an anxiety attack. It was a wake-up call. I realized if I kept running myself into the ground, trying to do everything for everybody, I wouldn't have anything left to give to my family, my business, or myself. Anxiety can spiral into bigger health issues, and I knew something had to change. So I made a decision. My podcast wasn't going to run me. I was going to run it. And what I discovered was a system that didn't just save my podcast, but it saved my sanity. So now I want to share it with you. My name is Tanya Smith, and my question is, what if I told you there is a way to keep your video podcast going without it taking over your life? The number one reason people quit their video podcast isn't because they don't have great ideas. We've got tons of those. It's because they're exhausted. They hit that wall where recording and editing are taking way too long. They spend hours figuring out what to say. They post inconsistently because life gets busy. And eventually, what started as something exciting and fun starts to feel like yet another job. And let's be real, most of us already have enough work. An inconsistency usually happens because of three things. The times suck. Recording, editing, promoting, everything feels too much like work. Or maybe it's the blank page problem. You sit down to plan an episode and suddenly your brain is empty. And the burnout cycle. You're pushing through, doing everything manually until you just can't anymore. So it is no surprise that so many podcasters just fade out. The problem isn't that video podcasting is too hard. It's that most of us are trying to do too much, too manually, and with no systems in place. And that's exactly what I'm here to help you fix. The best thing I ever did for my video podcast was to stop treating every episode like a brand new project. Instead, I built a simple, repeatable system, one that allows my podcast to practically run itself while I focus on the parts that actually grow my business without sacrificing my health, my time, or my energy. And it starts with a few simple shifts that can completely change the way you run your show. I'm going to give you 6. So number 1, use a signature episode format. One mistake I see a lot of podcasters make is that they start every episode from scratch, starting from the bottom. But successful podcasters don't have to wing it. They follow a format. If you think about your favorite shows, whether it's a news program, a talk show, or even a reality series, there's always a rhythm to it. A signature structure that makes it easy to follow and easy to produce. Your podcast should have that too. Here's how. Pick a simple structure that you repeat every episode. It could be something as simple as opening hook where you grab attention, main content with your 3 key points or an interview, call to action, direct the audience to your next step, and then you wrap it up with the outro. Think about sticking to a consistent length so you don't have to guess how long an episode should be. And use the same intro and outro, the music, to make editing easier. The best part is once you have this structure, you can template it. So no more overthinking, no more wasted time. You just plug and play. When you have a structure, you take the guesswork out of every episode. Shift number 2. Batch record your episodes. Recording one episode at a time is a guaranteed way to burn yourself out. If you want your video podcast to run more smoothly, you need to batch your content. This means setting aside one day to record multiple episodes, filming all your intros and outros at once, blocking out a few hours to prepare your scripts for several episodes instead of just one. Why does this work? Well, because every time you sit down to record, you're using up mental energy. When you batch, you can get more done in less time, and your content stays consistent even though your life is getting busy. Shift number 3. Automate the boring stuff. Most podcasters waste time on things that technology can do for them. So if you're still manually editing, manually posting, and manually writing descriptions, you're making this harder than it has to be. Try this instead. Use AI-powered editing tools like Descript or Riverside to clean up your episodes fast. Set up auto-publishing so that your podcast releases while you sleep. Use show note templates so that you're not writing from scratch each and every time. The more you automate, the less you have to worry about. Here's number 4. Outsource what you don't need to do. I know it's hard, but here's the hard truth. You don't have to do everything yourself. If you're spending hours creating thumbnails, editing video, or posting on social media, it's time to delegate. You can start small. So maybe you hire a freelancer to create your graphics, use a service to edit your episodes, get a virtual assistant to schedule your post. You don't have to spend a fortune. You just find at least one thing to take off your plate at a time. Tip number 5. Repurpose your content like a pro. The biggest mistake, well, another big one that I see podcasters make is they record an episode, post it once, and move on. And that's wasted potential. Every episode should turn into at least 5 plus other pieces of content. A short video clip for Instagram, LinkedIn, or TikTok, a blog post from your episode transcript, an email to your list to promote the episode, social media graphics with key takeaways and quotes, a YouTube video for a wider audience. This means you're taking one recording. That one recording session fuels your content for the entire week. Tip 6, and this is one of my favorites. Use live streaming as your video podcast recording format. So this is the biggest time saver of them all. Why record and edit a podcast when you could just go live and be done? Live streaming is the secret weapon for video podcasters. If you want to, cut down on editing time because live video is raw and it's real. If you want to reduce production costs, there's no need for expensive software. Increase your engagement instantly because live streaming is letting you interact with your audience in real time. And repurpose faster, since you have now this high quality video that's ready to go the moment you are done. And here's the best part. Your live stream is your podcast episode. After you go live, you might do some light editing, extract the audio and upload it to your podcast platform, chop up clips for social media, use the transcript to create a blog post or email. There's no extra recording, no extra work, just one session that does everything. This is why I tell people, if you want your video podcast to be easier, just start by going live. Now, here's a bonus tip, because even with the best systems, your podcast will not grow unless your content is connecting. That's why I use something called the HEART framework. It's a simple way to create engaging, binge-worthy episodes. So we'll start with H, hook. Begin with a strong attention-grabbing opening. E for empathy. Speak to what your audience is feeling. A for authority. Show them that you know your stuff. R, relatability. Share stories that make you real to them. And then T, takeaway. Leave them with something actionable. When you use this framework, your audience will stick around, not just for one episode, but for the long haul. See, it's these frameworks and systems that can help you to really go faster, but also go deeper and make the connections you need. So here's my challenge for you. If your podcast feels overwhelming, don't quit. Simplify. Pick one thing from this list that I've shared with you today and start now. Maybe it's using a template. Maybe it's batching your next 2 episodes. Maybe it's outsourcing your thumbnails or repurposing your last episode into a social media post. Because here's the thing, your voice, your message, and the value you bring, those things matter. And when you take the chaos out of your content creation, you free up space for what really counts, engaging your audience, growing your brand, and actually enjoying the process without sacrificing your health, your peace, or the parts of your life that truly matter. Because trust me, this isn't just about making podcasting easier. It's about making your life easier. And that, my friend, is worth it.